There are many aspects that our business benefits from the actions we take to reduce carbon. Obviously, one of the key ones is in cost itself. Over the last 10 years alone, we've reduced our CO2 emission by about 40%. Some of our factories are carbon neutral. Surprisingly, you find a lot of them in the emerging markets. I was in Hefei, our detergent factory, totally carbon neutral. Our Kericho, Kenya tea plantations, totally carbon neutral. So they operate actually, if you go there, more cost efficiently and actually more efficiently in any other measures as well. Another benefit for us very clearly is in business models. A brand like Ben & Jerry's is totally carbon neutral, and the consumer actually buys Ben & Jerry's ice cream because of that. Our employees, I don't think many people want to work anymore for companies that squander future resources. So we're able to get a workforce that is far more motivated. So be it in cost, be it in product development, be it in employee engagement, we see benefits across the value chain. Well, there are challenges to embrace the low-carbon world, not the least the failure of governments to come in with a coherent framework that I think businesses are looking for. But at the same time, there's enough we can do and get on with it and actually show the example. We do a lot in-house. As I mentioned, 40% reduction over the last 10 years. And we look at our factories, we look at our offices, and obviously have to deliver ourselves. But the reality is that only 3% of our total carbon print is in-house. About 30% is in the agricultural part, upstream in the supply, and the other 70% is actually with consumers. And this is where the challenges are. Let me just give you two examples very briefly. On the supply side, we're trying to move the world to sustainable palm oil. 20% of CO2 emission in the world comes from deforestation. We happen to be a big palm oil producer, and Unilever firmly believes that behind our margarine brands or our soap brands, we need to go to sustainable palm oil. So there are challenges to move the Indonesians, the Malaysians forward, and we work with NGOs, we work with governments to do that. It's not that easy, often requires initial costs, and then you get the benefits longer term, but it simply is the right thing to do. And likewise, we have the challenges with the consumer. Consumer influences directly or indirectly 70% of the carbon. So getting consumers to wash at lower wash temperatures, making fuller loads, using our small and mighty products on Skip or on Surf and actually have a lower carbon imprint, is very important that we work these consumer habits, and that's not always easy. So these are the biggest challenges that we have to move it forward. Well, very simply, I'm a father, I have 3 children. We've set in Unilever a very important objective that we need to grow and double our business. And I think there are many people in the world, the 2 billion new ones that enter between now and 2050, who aspire to the same quality of life that we've become accustomed to. And yet we cannot keep squandering resources. Currently, the UK alone, where we are here, uses resources, if you project that to the globe, of about 3 planets. We only live on one. So for me, a future is an ability to grow and provide the prosperity that many people aspire to, but doing that in a way that actually reduces our environmental impact. And that is what we've said in Unilever. How can we double the business whilst reducing the environmental impact? And that's very energizing for me as a person who works for a company like that, but it is also very energizing for me as a father of children who actually wants to leave the world in a little bit of a better place than when we found it. Well, it's a very simple message. You see, you can wait for governments and use that as an excuse. You can wait for technology and use that as an excuse. But there are many things we simply can do now, and that business can do now. And it does make good business sense. It might be a slight cost of acting in some cases. I think they're the exception. But the cost of not acting and the cost of failure is going to be far higher. So my simple message is just get on with it and start today.